What's going on, everybody? Welcome into episode 55 of To the Show We Go. We got a full house today. We got Chris Henrique and Jamie Gatlin, along with myself, Andrew Parker. We got a special guest today. We're not on the player side right now, and we're not in the media side of the world. But we have he caught the baseball world by storm. I know I was pretty heavily invested when the draft was going on. But we have the president, CEO, and chairman of Baseball United, Kash Shaikh, on hand with us today. So, Kash,
What's up, guys?
I know you're a busy guy, so I kind of
Dude, by the way, Andrew, let me tell you, because since you mentioned the draft, this morning I found out this pretty cool thing that we won a pretty big marketing industry award for best online virtual event of 2023 was our draft, which is
really.
pretty cool. Yeah, we beat like AT&T and Microsoft and all these big companies. Um, so I appreciate you being a part of it and watching it because you're one of the reasons we won that award. So thank you.
Oh, I mean, when the names that were popping up in that draft were starting to I saw on my Twitter feed and Instagram and stuff like that. When I was seeing the names pop up, obviously, like there were some ties to each city. So, like, obviously, when a guy like Pablo Sandoval gets drafted, like he's got ties to Boston, he's got ties to San Francisco, so I see, the guy start talking about it, and I'm like, wow, like this is something that actually is intriguing to me. So, yeah, it was good, but I guess I want to start off. You're busy guy. You were just talking to us off air that you're traveling between Dubai and Cincinnati, where you call home. So, what's it been like since the showcase happened? And I guess how's life been now that Baseball United is underway?
Well, it's been insane. It's been insane. And first of all, thank you guys for having me on. I appreciate you guys and everything that y'all do for the game and for fans. The showcase was a nuts. I told my team we need to pull off multiple miracles to make this happen. Miracle was one of the miracles was creating a field. Another miracle was getting our players there because, we were a startup and didn't have a full travel agency partner to just get the people there. And we had people stuck at airports in Caracas and people, not getting out of winter ball deals, other places in Latin America. So it was crazy. And the fact we got everyone there, we said a prayer and thanked the good Lord because that was a big deal. And then getting our broadcast production off the ground and our feet up across the world. We were in 127 countries with our broadcast, accessed by 200 million homes. So that was a huge, huge thing for us, including we were on MLB TV here in the US and Fubo TV. They were great partners. That was another miracle. The fourth miracle was getting the fans into the stands. We did a good job with that. We didn't do as well as I wanted to be honest with you, because I think it was our dates changed four times in the last 4 months, not because of us, but because of some government stuff and shifts that were happening. And also, as you all know, the war across the region, nowhere close to Dubai, but just in respect for what was going on, we had to do some changes. So we ended up doing our showcase on Thanksgiving weekend, which was great for some folks and awful for other folks. It's a tough weekend. There was 28 other events happening in Dubai that weekend. So it was like, I was like, come on, can we get one like easy route here? Everything was just the odds were stacked, but we feel good because we had more people at our event than the local cricket league had at their opening night, their opening days. And you know, that part of the world and the UAE in particular is not like the States where it's a culture that's used to going in droves to sporting events. It's just not really happen. The big national team events, like when India plays Pakistan or something like that, or a big rivalries, then you see people come. But otherwise, you might get 1,000 people at a cricket match, 800 people in a 25,000 seat stadium. So that's a huge other challenge that we have in the market of not the viewership is typically there from a broadcast, and any sports league, that's the number one revenue driver. So that's great for us. But we have to kind of evolve and inspire this mindset of let's go to the ballpark. And we had about 4,500 people at each of our games. Like I said, I wanted a bit more, but given the timing and given everything that was going on, we felt good about it. the most important thing is that everyone there had a great time. It was a hugely diverse crowd. I mean, you probably had 30 different countries represented. You had different flags being waved, a lot of young people, and I'm sure we'll chat about, but a lot of cool innovations we had from a seating standpoint. So what I felt great about is that people who came had a great experience. So I was thinking life would slow down a little bit after the showcase, but it's been nuts. I was hoping to come back to the States quicker, but I had government meetings after that and a lot of things happening in Dubai. So I pretty much stayed there most of December. The great thing is all of our government partners were over the moon. They loved it. They never experienced it before. I mean, we had a Budweiser beer garden outside the stadium, dude. First time in history that that's ever happened. I mean, there was a lot of cool things that happened that we were able to push through. Difficulty level, 10 out of 10, with 10 being the most difficult thing I've ever done in my life, probably a 12. And we learned a ton and just grateful for our team that came together to make it happen. And we've been buried on planning for 2024 ever since then. So, it doesn't stop trying to do something that no one's ever done before.
I have to ask as well about the team that you've surrounded yourself with. You have Hall of Famers, you have guys that have been in the industry for longer than I've been alive.
Right.
So what is that like, I guess, sitting down with, a guy who's about to be inducted into the Hall of Fame, Adrian Beltre, guys who were first ballot. It's incredible the names you have like that are helping you lead the charge. So I guess when you sit down in a room, in a meeting, Zoom call, anything with baseball greats like them, like I guess what is that like for you?
It's a dream come true, man. It's a dream come true. I mean, if you told me 2 years ago I'd be, you know, sitting down with Albert Pujols, Mariano Rivera, Barry Larkin, Felix Hernandez, talking about how we're going to grow and innovate the game and everybody else in part of our team, there's no way I would have believed you. Now I'll tell you, like back in the day when Mariano Rivera was calling me, it was like, you know, the heavens were opening up. I saw my phone. I'm like, holy shit, it's Mo. And now I'm like, God damn it, Mo's calling me again, But because now we're in the weeds working on stuff. But I mean, morning I just got off a call with Mariano, Barry Larkin, Adrian Beltre, Robinson Chirinos. I mean, just amazing group. We've got over 15 Major League Baseball legends that are a part of our league. We've got a few that we're going to announce soon that we haven't announced yet because they just come on board. And we got a lot of guys who want to be a part of it. But obviously, starting with Lark and Mariano, they're co-founders along with myself and John Miedrich and Warren Miedrich of Baseball United. They've been with us from the beginning. It's been a multi-year journey to get to where we are. And then bringing on Adrian Beltre as our next big investor was a huge thing for us. I mean, I really believe that was a critical turning point in the growth of the company because, AB's got so much respect around the league and there's so many players. Plus, he played for 20 plus years, so a lot of guys played with them. But when we got Adrian Beltre and then Elvis Andrews came along with them, that really started to shift the investor mindset and players mindset of what was happening here. Then we quickly got Felix Hernandez. Ended up meeting Felix at the World Baseball Classic last year down in Miami, and God love Felix. That was the easiest investor pitch of all time. It probably took me 15 minutes, and he's like, "Dubai, man, I'm in. I'm in. Beltre, I'm in." Beltre was the hardest of all time. That was like 6 weeks back and forth. He's got a great team around him, as you can imagine with someone like AB. But that really kind of opened the floodgates, and we've been really blessed from everyone down the line, from Robinson Cano, Bartolo Colon, Robinson Chirinos, Nick Swisher, Ryan Howard, Shane Victorino, Hanley Ramirez, Rookie of the Year in the Marlins. I mean, Matt Barnes, All-Star World Series champion. It's been incredible, man. It's incredible. And to see those guys out in Dubai on the showcase, we had 8 of them out there on the field, it was pretty special. So they're a huge part of who we are and what we're doing. They've added so much credibility to the league. a bunch of us are going to be out in New York next week meeting with Major League Baseball as well as the Players Association, seeing how we can grow the game together. We have the same vision of growing the game of baseball. Obviously, there's a connection between our two leagues because of the MLB investors. And beyond that, the players, as you mentioned, the draft. I mean, 70% of the guys we drafted were originally drafted by MLB ball clubs. 45% of our draft class played at the big league level. And you got guys like three-time World Series champion Pablo Sandoval. You got guys like Robbie Cano, Didi Gregorius, who can still ball, by the way. And they're going to be in Miami in a couple weeks. Didi, Anderson Simmons are going to be part of the Curacao team playing in the Caribbean Series. So it's just awesome, man. As a guy that grew up loving baseball, baseball is my first love. To be able to be a part of this and working with this team is really special.
So I got one more question before I shoot to Chris or Jamie. I don't want to hog up all the time here, but I was actually watching a sporting event just this last week that took place in Dubai, the DP World Tour for golf, and
Yep.
something that came across the broadcast that kind of triggered something as well that I wanted to ask you too. When there's obviously golf is in a little different position than baseball, as in you're not directly competing with the MLB like how Live and the PGA Tour are pretty much competing for talent. It's a whole different dynamic, I feel like. But I know the DP World Tour was talking about how when they were trying to get the fans in Dubai, it's just a whole different atmosphere. So I
Right.
wanted to ask, we had kind of mentioned the WBC, and I think that was a lot of this past WBC was incredible. And I feel like it opened up a lot of people's eyes, including myself, to baseball fans outside of America are very different than we are. So what is the atmosphere like in the stadium? I know you were talking about the numbers you were getting and you want more numbers, but with the atmosphere you guys attracted, what was that like, and how was it comparable to WBC, or was it more like American baseball?
It was definitely like international baseball, which is much more of like a festival carnival type atmosphere. Everybody waving flags, chants. The band, we had a band like a marching band playing the whole time, in the stands in a whole section, felt like what we wanted to do is create a mix of international baseball vibe. Like if you see a game in the Dominican Republic or Venezuela, I mean, it's a party. It's a party. Even in Japan, if you see an MPB game from the first pitch to the last out, they're on their feet. There's energy, there's chants. We wanted that. And honestly, as somebody that, grew up here in America, I also wanted to mix in a bit of college football vibe, because if you think about the college football experience, that's like the sport probably where there's the most energy from a fan base. We were watching Virginia Tech. If you guys see Virginia Tech football, like when they
Oh yeah.
come in and Enter Sandman, dude. So we're like, come on, we need that vibe. We played Enter Sandman on the stadium speakers when our players jogged in before the broadcast. It was sick, man. So it's like we wanted a college football vibe and an international flavor, and that's the beauty of international sports, international baseball, because when you look at Baseball United, we have over 25 countries represented on our roster. So people came out from Finland, people came out from Canada, people came out from the Ukraine, etc. And of course, we had prospects from India and Pakistan and Sri Lanka and Palestine that we brought on purposely to help inspire the fans in those nations, because that's our backyard where we're trying to grow. They had huge contingents out there. Those prospects became celebrities back home when they went home, and they played a professional game for the first time in history of their country. So that's the beauty of the area and that part of the world. And like you mentioned, Andrew, I mean, there's never been a better time for international baseball with the WBC last year, WBC, what it started from everything from a number standpoint, in attendance, in viewership, in sponsorship, and social media shares, and engagement, sales, to the storylines that were there. Mexico having a great run, Great Britain creating a presence, some of the Eastern European teams having a great run up to the World Baseball Classic. helping spread the game there. And then, of course, you couldn't get better with Trout and Otani at the end. And I think that really helped a lot of people see that there's so much potential with the game of baseball. And for us, as you know, we're sitting in cricket country. There's 2 billion people in the Middle East and South Asia. 1 billion of them are cricket fans. We want to inspire some of them to take on and fall in love with what we believe is the other great bat and ball sport in the world of America's pastime, and we're on our way.
What has it been like to see, Baseball United grow from the ground up to where it is now and just be part of that process?
Been a blessing, man. It's been surreal. It's one of those things where you're so locked in on building, and the way my mindset is to just kind of understand the vision and have that really clear, but just focus on the moment every day, what we got to do to get there. And there's so much work that's been done. And then when you look up and you say, holy crap, we actually did it. Like, we made history. We played the first games there. We've got these legends that are a part of it. We put a great product on the field to where Major League Baseball is calling us and saying, hey, we were impressed with the quality of play. We came up with some crazy innovations like the money ball that worked. 100 million views on social media of Pablo's Moneyball was pretty cool, and it's just been really special, Jamie. But there's so much more work to do. That's what's crazy about it. I mean, this morning I was telling our squad, I'm like, we don't really have much time to be proud of what we did, even though we are. We're really focused on what can we do better and where can we learn and how can we keep this thing going? Because it's an expensive thing to do too, to be honest with you. I mean, this ain't cheap, So it's a lot of investment and also a lot of fundraising that we still have to do. We did a great job. We had 16 sponsors that we closed in a matter of 5 or 6 weeks last year, which was pretty crazy. And we weren't able to close them or really push them because the date kept changing. But they were really happy with everything from Victus on down. So now we got, some more work to do to kind of close them up for next year. Because if we can figure out the financials of it, we know we have the foundation of the fan base. Like, we know people want it, not just in Dubai and India and Pakistan, which is obviously where we want to grow, but around the world. We had, you know, over 2 dozen countries watching our broadcasts as well, you know. So that, it's a huge, huge thing that we've done, but man, we got so much more work to do.
Yeah, I was, thinking about it as you're, talking about just like from a partnership and surrounding yourself with the right people. I started to think about, you guys are going to be with Major League Baseball. Then you think you got the NFL and you have these other leagues that have tried to do their own thing, the XFL, the USFL, and not saying that that's what you guys are, but it is impressive to kind of see that you quickly captivated an audience to the level that you did, and with the players that you brought in there, from Pablo to Beltre to the guys that, I mean, obviously he didn't play, but, part of like the team and things like that. As you, continue to grow, is there like an appetite to where maybe some of what you guys are doing, you can bring it to the States and fans in the United States can also experience, even though we got to see guys like Didi play when, they were younger,
Yeah.
but it's something you guys are looking to do as well?
I think so, Chris. I think there's a lot of opportunity there. And that's one of the most refreshing learnings from this whole experience of last year is that, we've got people calling us from all around the world saying, hey, can you bring a squad, either an all-star team or can you bring the Mumbai Cobras to Japan? Can you bring them to the DR? Is there a universe where after the Caribbean series next year, the winner plays a team from Baseball United, So I think that there's a lot of heart and a lot of energy for that. I was just meeting with some broadcasters yesterday, and our some of our biggest broadcast countries were outside the region. Japan was really watching everything that we were doing from the draft all the way through the showcase. Obviously, the U.S., we had a big broadcast footprint, but Venezuela was huge. Obviously, Dominican was huge when you have Bartolo and Beltre and Pujols and everything. And we've got, some gods of Dominican baseball as part of our team. So I think there's a lot of opportunities, and that's why I'm excited for our talks with MLB, as well, because obviously, like you mentioned, Andrew, we're not trying to compete with Major League Baseball. We're all MLB fans. We view Major League Baseball as the crown jewel, but as you all know, there's more than a dozen other professional baseball leagues in the world. Obviously, everybody knows Japan and KBO, China, Taipei, Australia, though, DR, Venezuela, Nicaragua, Panama, Mexico, Puerto Rico. So there's a huge, huge market. Um, as y'all know, most of those are typically called winter ball. They're winter ball leagues, November to February. We're going to be playing in the winter ball timing just by nature of the climate of where we're at, because it's hot as hell, outside those in that region. But we don't consider ourselves a winter ball league. You know what I mean? We're going to have a bridge schedule, and we're going to be playing around that same timeline. But what's cool about that is now, because of the nature of the season and the time of the year that we're playing, we naturally are a complement to Major League Baseball and the MPB, you know. But we want to be the number one international baseball league on the planet based on, credibility and respect of the league, based on viewership, you know, and based on quality of play. And I really believe, like, our goal when we started this like 2 years ago, and I was like, if we could have that product and to buy the first game be a top five league team, meaning like we could go take that team and go beat a team from Taipei or beat a team from KBO, that would be pretty special. And honestly, I really believe that those two teams, you could have played an MLB team. They could play a 3-game series with an MLB team and they could win some games. You know how baseball is. Um, and that's pretty cool, That's pretty cool, particularly on the batting side. On the pitching side, that's one way we want to continue to grow, especially with young talent. But we feel really good about the product that we have and the opportunity to now take that all around the world. And I was in Japan right before New Year's. I went to Tokyo. I met with the Giants, and I met with the Yomiuri Bay Stars, which is where, I'm sorry, the Yokohama Bay Stars. And that's where Trevor was playing this last year. And Yuli Gurriel played for the Bay Stars. They got a great fan base. And I was like, hey guys, what about before your season starts? I bring the Cobras over here. We bring an all-star team over here. We play the Giants, play Bay Stars, 3-game series. And they're like, are you fucking crazy? That's in 2 months. And I was like, what do you mean 2 months? There's plenty of time. But they're like, love the idea. It's just too quick of a turnaround. But the cool thing is they were interested. So who knows what's going to happen in 2025? And y'all know this year, I mean, look, Major League Baseball is doing the spring training thing in the DR. They're doing the Mexico series, doing the Korean series. So that's pretty cool too, because there's a lot of synergies of what they're looking to do and what we're building.
All right, guys, I have some rapid fire ones. If you guys have anything before I shoot to that.
Uh-oh.
I got one more.
All right.
What's it been like to work? We talked about guys like Beltray, but just to work with those stars who have been in the World Series and kind of get to know them on a more personal basis.
And it's been awesome. And every single one of our guys has been so humble, such high character guys. That was one of the things that we looked at, Jamie, when we were trying to find the right astronauts, the right pioneers to be the first ones to set foot on a baseball field in the Middle East, is not just how well they played on the field, but their character and their mindset and their integrity off the field. And Eddie Diaz, our Vice President of Baseball Operations, John Muedrick, Executive VP of Baseball Ops, they did an incredible job. Carlos Mirabal, part of our baseball ops team. Carlos is a legend in Japan, by the way. If you look him up, they did a great job bringing a great group of guys together. And everybody was so humble. Everybody was so grateful for the opportunity and felt privileged to be a part of history. And they were all great ambassadors out there. Nobody had seen or touched a baseball player in that region before. So it was cool. I mean, all the guys were signing autographs. They were high-fiving fans. As y'all saw, we had cabanas on the field. I had this idea of like first ever courtside seating in baseball history. So we built these cabanas. It was insane. 5 minutes before the opening pitch, the first pitch, we're still putting up the netting to make sure where the cabanas are protected. It's like full on startup style, but we got them up. And dude, those were incredible. Kids loved them. I mean, we probably need to put more security on them next year because kids were just running around the field when balls were, hit, trying to get foul balls. And so we probably need to put a little bit of protection in between innings. They were running up, high-fiving the players as they're coming up the field. So, but it was amazing. And all that stuff was so cool. And the players were open to it. They're open to being mic'd up. They're open to being fall around. The coolest thing, as a core brand building guy myself, there's so much we can do. There's so much we can do. Like all this stuff is us as fans that we're like, I wish we could put a camera here. Why don't they mic this person up? Or how are they going to do this? Like we can do that. We can put 3 drones in left field, center field, and right field and have them shadow the outfielders. Like there's so many things we could do from a content and fan experience standpoint, which is really, really exciting.
Yeah, I was, as you were saying that, because it took me back, because like a few years ago, when we started, our writing, podcasting journeys and things like that, one of the like few common themes that we talked about was the fact that I felt that baseball really didn't connect very well with fans. I think it's changing. I think it's definitely changing, but 5 years ago, I didn't feel like they were trying to tap into the Mike Trouts of the world. Shohei Ohtani is face of the game. You know what I mean? That's a different stratosphere. But being able to do those things to mic up people, to get the fan closer to the on-field play, to me, like that's innovative. That it's hard for Major League Baseball to do, but you have a unique way to where you can capture fans and get them closer to this game that does need to evolve. And, to hear and see those things, it is very refreshing to see that because it's outside the box and, you know what I mean? And you don't know until you try it.
Right. Well, you're exactly right, Chris. I mean, and again, you're right. MLB's done a great job the last couple of years, and even seeing what they do at the All-Star game, the way that they're doing a lot more of the camera work, the mic'd up work, the different engagement activities that they do with the broadcasting on the field, they're doing great. But the reality is Major League Baseball has the oldest fan base in all of professional sports. The average age of an MLB fan is 57 years old. The average age of a cricket fan is 34 years old. The average age of a baseball fan in the Middle East and India is 26. 26. So you're talking about literally less than half the age of an MLB fan. And that's the huge opportunity. I mean, that's the exciting opportunity. So, and as you mentioned, I mean, one of the best parts of Major League Baseball being the oldest professional sports league on earth is the history and the heritage and the romance and the pageantry. I mean, I got my little calendar where I flip of trivia, of each day you got to flip and get a little trivia, thing. And like, it's just crazy, learning who had most doubles in 1896. You know what I mean? That's what's cool about MLB, but it's also one of the limiting factors because you can't mess with it too much because then you mess with stats and history and records and all that, which is so core to the game. For us, it's a blank slate. When we bring on a 6-run money ball, it's not messing up records or history or heritage. There's no asterisk needed. And that's what's cool about it. And what that does, like you mentioned, Chris, it enables us to open up a whole new avenue to a whole new group of fans that typically wouldn't watch the game. Whether it's because of the money ball, if it's because of the fact that we have these prospects integrated in to the teams representing their countries. Our designated runner rule actually enabled us to put in prospects from Pakistan. The first run in Baseball United history was scored by a prospect from Pakistan. I mean, that dude, they had a parade for him when he got back to Pakistan. You know what I mean? It's crazy. Now it was on like an error, but it's fine. He still scored. So all that is really cool. The on-field seating, and we have so many other ideas as well. We don't have extra innings in Baseball United. We have a home run derby. 2 players from each team, 10 pitches each, and whoever's got the most home runs wins. And if it's still tied, then it's a swing off and you go back and forth. And we didn't get to do that in the showcase, but that's going to be fun when we do that. So there's a lot of cool things we can do to engage a younger fan base, a more diverse fan base, and an international fan base.
I am looking forward to the home run derby to decide games. That's I mean, it makes sense though. It's like a shootout in hockey, like how if the game's still tied, like they're going to a shootout. So it's like not really a huge difference. But
Major League
all right.
Baseball, when it comes to the home run derby, every year I feel like there's the biggest whiff that they have is they have the targets that are out, in the stands. They should partner with Taco Bell during the home run derby as well and have like an Oppo taco. You know what I mean? Like
Right.
that is every time the home run derby, I'm like, that is a missed opportunity. You get free tacos when the first dude steals the base in the World Series. I'm like, Oppo taco it's a term that is in people use it in social media every time there's a highlight. There is a connection there.
There you go. We might be able to do that. We might be able to do that for ourselves. I met with Bentley last week, and I was like, okay, if you want to park a Bentley in center field, we could probably figure that out, and have the center fielder hop over it or whatever. But there's so many cool things that we could do, which is cool. And the other interesting thing before the rapid fire is also, the baseball fan in that part of the world, it's a premium fan base, so like higher educated than rep population, higher income, you know, higher percentage of employment, online more, social media creator, streams more games. It's a very engaged, influential, attractive fan base. And like I said, I've been building brands most of my career, all my career, and it's the dream fan base for a marketer or for any brand to capture. I think that's the biggest thing that brands haven't figured out yet. Obviously we met with Nike and Under Armour and everybody, and last year before we did the showcase, and everyone was like, "Love what you're doing." They were kind of like wait and see, though. You know, we had a few great brands like Victus and stuff who were on board from the beginning, but I think it's a huge missed opportunity still for brands because if you think about it, there is no baseball infrastructure there at all. If the four of us wanted to create a baseball glove company right now, we'd be the first one in the market over there. There's no, if you drive around Dubai, you can't buy a freaking baseball. If you go to the store to buy a baseball, if you're lucky, if you somehow find one in the whole country, it's going to be soft and squishy. You know what I mean? It's going to be a little play ball. The gloves are like this big. They're like little kitty gloves. So, there's a huge opportunity for brands to come in and piggyback on. And when I talk to brands, I'm like, that's the best time to launch your product when you can launch with a whole league that's doing 90% of the marketing for you because we're educating the fan base, we're getting inspired about baseball, etc. So there's just so much opportunity. It's a ton of work to make it happen, but we're gonna try our best to crack it.
All right, Cash. It's that time of the show where I have some very random quick questions for
I
you.
didn't know we had to do this. Kavan didn't warn me about this.
It's okay. I ask a lot of the people that come on here. So every episode we do is a new guest.
Right.
So it's like it's an interview every time. So I've asked these questions for the most part to a lot of people, but I want to know outside when you're not on like traveling the world, when you're not building brands. I know you've been busy the past 20 years. I understand this, but when you're not working, what is a guilty pleasure of Kash Shaikh?
Oh my God. Guilty pleasure. Dude, it's probably what I'm doing right now. And it's the least sexy thing possible. Because at 40, I don't know how old you guys are, but I'm 44 now. And what happens at 40 is for some psychotic reason, you become a bird watcher. You become a bird watcher, dude. Like
Okay.
I could say I'm running, I'm lifting weights and stuff, but look, I'm gonna tell you the unsexy part. I got a bird feeder right in front of my office right here. It's snowing and I'm looking at cardinals and blue jays and house finches and shit, dude. That is my guilty pleasure because it enables me to just have a few minutes to reset my brain, man. That's probably it.
I like it. I'm still on
I
the
got,
right side of
got a
30.
couple of woodpeckers too, woodpeckers.
Okay. bird watching. So once you turn 40, guys, it sounds like it's in our future.
You're trying to run a marathon. When you turn 30, you're trying to do a half marathon or run a marathon. At 40, it's like, okay, let me watch some birds.
I haven't gotten that one yet. I've gotten a lot of different stuff, but we have not. I've gotten video games. I've gotten like candy on the last episode, but I've never gotten bird watching. So that's good.
I'm not proud of it either. I'm not proud of it. It's just, it is what it is.
It's unique though. I like it. It's not like I'm exercising until, like you said. No, I like it. Bird watching, we'll stick with it. All right. I'm curious about this one, so I have to ask you. With you traveling the world, you talked about earlier, you have guys from numerous amounts of countries in the league. How many languages do you speak, and how many do you want to learn?
I speak three. I speak, fluently English, Hindi, and Urdu. And I'm pretty conversational in Spanish. I would love to learn Arabic because of where we are. It's a difficult language. It's a very difficult language, to learn, like, as an old guy like me, but I'm picking it up, because the biggest way to learn languages, as you all know, is immersion in the market. So I'm starting to pick up some words within it. But I'm a huge believer in just travel and culture and connecting, regardless of baseball. I mean, I was very blessed when I was at Procter and Gamble. They created a job for me to lead marketing and developing markets, and that was all of Latin America, South America, Africa, Asia, the Middle East, Eastern Europe. With P&G, I visited 51 countries in a 3-year period. And it changed my life, man. It fully changed my life. So I'm a huge believer in travel as the best form of education, and that we're all more similar than we are different. And that's why, Baseball United, our core value is unity, and it's not just part of our brand; it's part of our DNA. And we want to bring people together. And the best way to bring people together that I've learned in life is sport. It's the great equalizer and it's the great connector. And to have the opportunity to take America's pastime, the quintessential American sport, and bring it to the Middle East and South Asia for the first time is a huge honor and huge responsibility. But yeah, man. So Arabic, Arabic would be the big one, and maybe Japanese. I'd love to learn as well, being over there. I got a few words though. I figured out a few words.
Well, I have 2 questions left for you, then we'll let you go, because I know you, like I said, you probably have like 18 meetings today. So this next one, it might be the toughest question for you. So I have to ask it. You're a UT guy. They just had a pretty tough loss in the college football playoffs, which I'm sure you were watching. Where were you at for that, and how, like, did it go how you I mean, obviously it didn't go how you thought it was going to go, but what were your reactions on the loss to Washington?
I was in Dubai having to, like, get a little ghost stream of it. So that's what sucks, because no college football over there. But I was bummed about it. I really thought we had a chance to win it all. And it's been a long climb for UT. I was there in the Rose Bowl in the corner of the end zone when Vince Young ran right to me. I was sitting in the stands, but I just happened to be in the best place on the world that moment when UT beat USC to win our last national championship. And Vince Young somehow, through God's grace, became a good friend of mine through our work with BSB. So, I'm a huge Longhorn fan. You can't see it. We got some stuff up there, but it's progress though, man. And Sark just signed a multi-year extension because people were nervous that he might go take Saban's spot in Alabama, but he's going to be there for a while. And I think they're building a great team. And, I'm a big believer that culture is the most important part of any organization. And I really believe that Sark and the coaches down there are building a great culture. So I feel good about UT in the future.
Yeah, we covered the Red Sox AAA team this past year out in Worcester, Mass, and they had a Longhorn side of the locker room in there because there's the former closer for the Longhorns a few years back is in AAA for the Red Sox, and there's a infielder that played shortstop for the Longhorns for a few years that's also in
That
Worcester
Trey?
right
Was
now.
that Trey? Is Trey Paltini or
Chase Shugart, and
okay?
then David Hamilton is the middle infielder that was with Texas. But they sat, their lockers were right next to each other. I think David Hamilton had his Longhorns jersey in his locker, his College World Series jersey. So it was pretty cool. But we always got our fix of UT everything whenever we'd go in the locker room. But
That's
um,
cool. That's cool.
I have one last question for you before we
Oh,
let you go.
by the way, my fellow co-founder Barry Larkin went to Michigan, so he had a
Oh,
great he's a Michigan guy. So Lark's had a good run lately on some of his sports stuff, but he was super happy, obviously.
yeah, I'm very happy for Michigan right now, obviously with the Lions in the playoffs, going as far as they have. I saw people were crying in the stands when the Lions won that first game. And then obviously Michigan just winning. Like, that state's been in cold and darkness for a while. So I'm
Right.
happy to see Michigan and the Lions doing well. But I have
That's
one
right.
final question before we let you go. You know what? It's a two-parter that could be a three-parter. I haven't found that out yet. But the first part of this, are you a fast food guy?
Not really, man. Not really. I try.
All right.
I'm a fast food connoisseur in terms of knowing the fast food, but I try to stay away from fast food for the most part. My wife is the number one fast food world champion. You know, and she's pregnant right now, so every day it's like a caravan of different fast foods that roll up to the door with Uber Eats or whatever it is. But myself, I try to stay away from fast food, man.
Okay. Well, I've asked a question to everybody on the show, but I feel like it wouldn't be fair to ask you, but I might do it anyway, just to see what is your favorite or go-to. But um obviously baseball, a lot of the players that we interview come from the South. You know, a lot of them are Texas guys or Georgia guys, whatever. So they grew up with some good Southern fried chicken, especially fast food chains.
Right.
So I'm very big. My heart's on with a certain fast food fried chicken place, and so I always ask that question. It's like, if you had every single option available and you did want fast food today and you wanted fried chicken, whether it's a sandwich, strips, whatever, and all the options were open, where would you be going?
Oh, dude. But you know what? This one, I don't know if this would be the best, but it'd be the most sentimental because down the street from where I grew up, there was a place called, and you said the word Hearts Fried Chicken. It's Hartz. Probably doesn't even exist anymore. But we grew up on that on Hearts Fried Chicken. I think on a 1 to 10, 10 being the best, it was probably like a 5. But the rolls were really good, and usually rolls are, or biscuits are kind of a differentiator. If you go to a place or not, like the Popeyes biscuits are usually pretty good. But Hearts Fried Chicken, which is a Texas thing, would probably be my choice.
Fair. We've gotten Chicken Express a few times from our Texas pals. I don't know if you're big on that, but that's the only Texas chain I think we've gotten so far. So
I
that's a
think they
new one
got
too.
they got Lee's chicken over here in Cincinnati too.
I grew
Lee.
up yeah, that's in the Midwest as well. So
Okay.
all
I
right,
never
fair.
tried that. I never tried that. That one looks a little sketchy. I stay away from that one, but maybe it's good.
All right. Well, my heart's with Zaxby's. So if you ever see a Zaxby's in the South, you're driving around, whatever. I know they're in Texas, they're in Georgia, they're all over the
Yep.
place. Definitely go.
I'll try.
And we all have to try Skyline Chili sometime. I know
Yep.
that's a Cincinnati thing, but I feel like definitely need to get on that. But Cash, we appreciate all the time you've given us. 50 minutes of your busy day. So we definitely appreciate it. We're definitely looking forward to what you guys have in store that's going to go on in 2024. But thank you so much for hopping on with us.
Thank you guys. Great to meet you guys. Thanks for what you do. Looking forward to staying in touch. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
We'll see you. Thanks,
Thanks,
guys.
Cash.